Hey guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be reviewing WestJet 787-9 in economy from Calgary to Maui. I've definitely been looking forward to trying out WestJet's flagship product, and as an added bonus, I'll get to fly it on the route from Calgary to Maui, which is a route I've had lots of experience on with WestJet before, allowing me to contrast it to their past products. But now, let's get into the check-in experience with WestJet. Overall, it went really smooth, and today I was also traveling with a grandparent who has some mobility issues, so they were very accommodating with the wheelchair stuff, and that was definitely done well. However, I will mention that all the car seats and the walkers on the aircraft didn't make the flight, so we had to wait till the next day for those to come in, and our bags were damaged after the flight. However, that may be more down to the Calgary Airport Authority rather than WestJet. With that, we made our way through security and U.S. Customs into the U.S. section of Calgary's new international terminal. This terminal had opened up in late 2016, and since its opening, I've never really been a huge fan of the U.S. section of it. The terminal was designed with a call-to-gate system in mind, which means that there are more centralized seats and not really many seats where the actual gates are. There is a decent selection of places to eat in this central area, however, it's nothing out of this world, and I actually believe Calgary's domestic terminal has more options. However, I think my biggest gripe with this terminal as an av geek is the windows. Number one, the top area is completely removed from the windows, so you have to look pretty far to see anything. And then a lot of the time they'll bring these window shades down, and there's still double layered glass, so definitely not my favorite. Makes it pretty hard to view your aircraft in a lot of spots. However, if you do walk to the very end of the terminal, which was actually where our gate was today, you can get some okay shots of the aircraft landing and departing off the international runway. Anyways, with that being said, here's our aircraft for today, a WestJet 787-9 Dreamliner coming in from Amsterdam. Registered Charlie Golf Uniform Delta Oscar. This is a 4-year-old 787-9 Dreamliner built in Everett. This was also WestJet's third 787 ever delivered to them. One thing that I'd also like to mention about this particular flight is it seems to now leave in the evening rather than in the early mornings as it used to. I must say, I definitely preferred the morning flights, as it's definitely much nicer to get into Hawaii around noon rather than at like 10 in the evening. The other thing is that the flights tend to be delayed more often, as this aircraft comes in from Amsterdam, and if it gets held up there, you're bound to get delayed going out. But now, with all that being said, let's get ready to step on board this aircraft. Today, I'd be boarding with the pre-boarding group, as like I said earlier, my grandpa had some accessibility issues, so they let him board early with some other passengers. As I walk over to my seat, let's talk about the seating configuration in WestJet 787s. First, let's start with business class, where the aircraft features 16 lie-flat seats in a 1x2x1 configuration. This was definitely one of the highlights of the aircraft back when it was delivered in 2019, and definitely showed WestJet's transition to a full-service carrier, which they were undergoing at that point in time. The aircraft also features 28 recliner-style seats in premium economy, configured in a 2x3x2 configuration. And then finally, in economy, where I'll be flying today, they feature 276 seats in a 3x3x3 configuration. Anyways, my seat today would be seat 33K, which has a decent enough wing view. I would probably recommend something further up if you're an av geek and would like a good view of the wing, but it definitely provided great views. However, it was a night flight, so it didn't really matter all that much. When it comes to my first impressions of this product, they're definitely really positive. The combination of the Dreamliner's interior, these new seats, and the finishings on the aircraft, you definitely get a feeling that you're on something special, especially compared to any other aircraft in WestJet's fleet. I also heard other passengers around me commenting on how nice the aircraft was, which is definitely something that I don't usually hear. I'll also mention that overhead bin space is definitely abundant on the 787, so no need to worry about that. Anyways, enjoy this taxi and takeoff, and beautiful night views of the city of Calgary. And I'll be back with you guys in the air with more detail on the seats.
Dropped from the panel above you. Please remove your mask before donning the oxygen mask and follow the demonstrated procedure. Thank you.
now that we're in the air, let's take a closer look at our seat for today. Now, starting with the legroom certainly wasn't anything to write home about. It was okay enough. I'm 6'2" for reference, but with stuff in the backseat pocket, it was definitely a little bit restrictive. The tray table was large, sturdy, and a good height above the knees. Now, for me, the most important part of any aircraft seat is the padding, which is something WestJet has done well on this particular seat. The seats were fairly plush compared to some other seats I've sat in, and I was definitely comfortable throughout the flight. The seats do also feature USB charging ports and full power sockets near the bottom of the seats. A decent amount of recline is also provided in these seats. Personal air vents, personal reading lights, Wi-Fi, and an adjustable headrest were also available on this aircraft. When taking a look inside the literature pocket of this aircraft, you'll find yourself a typical 787 safety card, along with an air sickness bag. Now let's take a look and see what WestJet's IFE has to offer. WestJet's IFE was definitely top-notch. It had plenty of features on it, including games, things to do, information about the aircraft, entertainment along with the menu, and a pretty good moving map as well. Another thing of note was a page showing all of WestJet's aircraft in their new livery. Now they've only painted their new livery onto the 737 MAXs, 787s, and now also the Saab 340 as of recording this video. Definitely hope to see more WestJet aircraft in the new livery coming soon, as I think it definitely suits a lot of these aircraft pretty well. Now it is time for the loo review, and it was definitely a pretty typical 787 lavatory. It was quite clean, and there was certainly enough space in there, along with a sink and a couple hand lotions. Now, one thing of note for WestJet's bathrooms is they do have this really nice bulkhead kind of scheme going on here with the WestJet Deltas, so definitely something nice to see. Wish more airlines would incorporate airline artwork into their cabins. WestJet would also come around a couple times during this flight with not only paid options for meals, but also a free drink and cookie, as per usual. Now, when it comes to the 787 as an aircraft, it certainly is very nice and definitely lives up to all the points touted about it, including the large windows, large overhead bins, high ceilings, mood lighting, and low cabin altitude. Certainly quite the upgrade over their aircraft of the past, and definitely much better than the 737 MAX they sometimes put on this route. In the past, I've flown this route with both their 757s chartered from Thomas Cook and their 767 aircraft. Now, although I'll certainly always be nostalgic for those planes, this is definitely a next level experience. But now, let's see this beautiful nighttime landing into Kahului Airport. And if you feel that I've done a good job and would like to see more aviation content, including trip reports and model airport updates, please consider liking and subscribing. Anyways, stick around for my final thoughts as well after the landing. Now, let's discuss my final thoughts on this aircraft. I definitely think WestJet's done a good job on their 787-9, and there's no question about it that it's definitely a highly competitive product and certainly the best in their fleet. No, this aircraft has certainly caught other people's eyes too, as later on in the trip I heard people talking about the WestJet 787 in the hot tub, which is usually not a topic that comes up, so for a general person who's not into aviation to remember that the WestJet 787 Dreamliners is a good aircraft really says a lot. It will be interesting to see what happens with all of this in the future, as WestJet's move to a full-service carrier didn't seem to go quite as planned, as they've had plenty of low-cost competition from within Canada, which is squeezing them out of the market space there, and competition from Air Canada is certainly tough. So who knows if the Dreamliners will even be a big part of WestJet's future. But now, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and certainly hope to see you guys back next time.